Hello everybody! If you want all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 930, The Old Ticket. Intermediate. Daniel enjoyed collecting unusual objects, but he never spent much money. He preferred to search through charity shops, antique fairs and small second-hand stalls. He believed every object had a story waiting to be discovered. One Saturday morning, he visited a small antiques exhibition in a nearby town. While looking through a box of old papers, he noticed a faded theatre ticket. It had been printed nearly 70 years earlier for a performance that had taken place in London. The ticket cost only 50 pence. Daniel bought it because he liked the elegant design. He placed it carefully inside a notebook and almost forgot about it. Several weeks later, he was reading a magazine about British theatres. One article described a famous actor named Arthur Collins, who had performed in only one public show before suddenly leaving the stage forever. Nobody knew exactly why he had disappeared from public life. The article mentioned that very few tickets from that performance had survived. Daniel looked at his notebook. His old ticket carried the same date. Curious, he contacted the theatre's historical society. A volunteer replied the following day and asked him to send several photographs. Soon afterwards, they invited him to visit. When Daniel arrived, the volunteers examined the ticket with great care. One elderly expert smiled. "This is genuine," she said. "We have searched for one of these for many years." She explained that every surviving ticket helped historians understand how many people had attended the performance. Daniel's example also contained a handwritten seat number that had never appeared in any official records. The society thanked him warmly. "We would love to display it," the expert said. "Would you consider allowing us to borrow it for an exhibition?" Daniel thought for a moment. The ticket had brought him unexpected pleasure, but he realized it could teach thousands of visitors something about the past. "I would be delighted," he replied. Several months later, the exhibition opened. Visitors stopped to examine the tiny piece of card behind its glass case. A short description explained how it had been discovered by an ordinary collector who simply enjoyed exploring old objects. One afternoon, an elderly visitor stood in front of the display for a long time. Finally, she spoke to one of the volunteers. "My father attended that performance," she said quietly. "He often told me about it when I was a child." She later shared several letters that her father had written after seeing the show. The letters described the actor's remarkable performance and included details that historians had never known before. The Historical Society carefully preserved both the letters and Daniel's ticket. Together they helped complete an important chapter in the theatre's history. A year later, Daniel visited the exhibition again. He smiled as he watched people reading the information beside the display. Children asked questions. Adults discussed the actor's career. Everyone seemed interested in learning more. Daniel realized that he had not simply found an old ticket. He had helped rescue a small piece of history that might otherwise have been forgotten. As he left the exhibition, he felt satisfied. Sometimes the greatest discoveries begin with nothing more than a careful glance at an ordinary object. If you learned a new word today, please make sure to subscribe so you can practice again next time. Vocabulary notes. Faded, meaning something that is faded has lost its original color or brightness because it is old or has been exposed to light over time. It can also describe writing or printing that is difficult to see because it has become less clear. Example: while looking through a box of old papers, he noticed a faded theatre ticket. Similar words: worn, pale, dim, weathered. Extra example. She found a faded photograph of her grandparents inside an old family album. Survived, meaning if something has survived, it has continued to exist even though many similar things have been lost, destroyed, or damaged. The word can also describe people or animals that remain alive after a dangerous event. Example, the article mentioned that very few tickets from that performance had survived. Similar words: remained, endured, lasted, persisted. Extra example, only a few ancient documents survived after the fire in the city library. Examined, meaning to examine something means to look at it very carefully in order to discover information, check its condition, or understand it better. Example, when Daniel arrived, the volunteers examined the ticket with great care. Similar words: inspected, studied, checked, observed. Extra example, the mechanic examined the engine before explaining what needed to be repaired. Preserved, meaning to preserve something means to protect it so that it remains in good condition and can continue to exist for a long time. This word is often used for historical objects, buildings, documents, and traditions. Example, the Historical Society carefully preserved both the letters and Daniel's ticket. Similar words: protected, conserved, maintained, safeguarded. Extra example, the museum preserved the ancient coins in a special display cases to prevent damage. Rescue, meaning to rescue something means to save it from being lost, forgotten, damaged, or destroyed. It can also mean saving a person or animal from danger. Example, he had helped rescue a small piece of history that might otherwise have been forgotten. Similar words: save, recover, protect, retrieve. Extra example, volunteers worked together to rescue important records before the old building was demolished. Story generated by ChatGPT. Image generated by ChatGPT. Video generated by Clipbee. To read, listen, see all the stories' content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.